Okay. I want to do a reading real quick while it was close to me feeling this energy. This song came to me from the 80s when I was a little girl, a child. I mean, videos I think were just being invented. I mean, music videos like MTV was just breaking out. And there was one song that was one of the beginning videos, and it was maybe that's why it stuck with me, because videos were new, and Laura Branigan's Self-Control was one of the first, I think, videos that came out, or at least in my memory. But I do remember being a child and being able to relate to that song. um and it just made me think to myself today, what was I doing relating to that song? Because it's pretty much being about being in love to the point where you are not in control. And not only the images, I looked up the video to see, like, what did my child eyes see? Because I don't remember. It's kind of wild, the imagery, the images, or um, it's pretty, let's just say, seductive, but it is also wild, like inhibition. And so it's like, how could I have related to? But what I related to was not so much what I see now, which is, wow, they're walking through the house and all that's going on. I don't remember seeing that, but I do remember the passion and the feeling of loving someone so much you lose yourself. That is what I remember feeling like I could connect to. And I don't encourage that ever you lose yourself to passion, or meaning lose yourself as, and I don't care what happens to me, I have to have them. I don't encourage that. But I'm just saying, as a kid, I could relate to that longing, or to that. And then I thought how adults would say, to me when I was younger, honestly, or to any child, you would hear an adult assume, how do you know about love? You never had a relationship, or you too young to know about that. And what I walked through today, or realized, awakened to, whatever you want to call it, is that something came to me that we have lived lifetimes. We may not have in this lifetime had a relationship at 5, 8, 13, but in previous lives, somehow it stays in us and we can resonate. Maybe your soul didn't, but the little girl you're talking to that's 5 or 10 or whatever, she can resonate because she remembers, or maybe she had the love of her life in a previous lifetime. Maybe she had many loves of her lives. But that's what I got from that, is that you never know where a soul has been. Your soul may have been. If I'm talking to somebody who has loved or knew about love way before a first relationship, it's probably because you had been in a very passionate love affair at some point in your previous lives. And that's why you know how it feels to be, swept away. And with that, I'm just going to pull a quick reading on this. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. I didn't even think about what decks, but I'm going to start with this one, since it's pink and it is love-based. And then I'll go to whatever flows like this. Spirit, please guide me. Why did I feel like talking about it right away? Because I wrote down this notion of what came to me about the lifetimes and being in love for lifetimes. Oh, yes. I thought that it was meant to come up because Isis and Osiris. I've known about Isis, but I never dug into the part about Osiris. I know you're like, how can you know about Isis and not Osiris? Well, I'm not a bookworm in that area. I was not. And Set. Whoa. I had no idea this whole story, but once I read about it, it was like, I had much more respect, number one, for Isis and Osiris. It's a tragic story, her putting him back together and that kind of thing. But Set, it come to find out, today's devil idea, character, or what have you, comes from Set. is a descendant of Set, so to speak. So it's like, wow, that thing goes on and on. That's what made me think about this whole, a little girl right there has lived lifetimes. Osiris and Isis, Adam and Eve is always an enemy or the devil. It seems like things just recycle and recycle and recycle. So with that, okay, so with that, let's see. Spirit, what do we have to, anything about ancient love? What would you call that? Lifetimes? Wow. Inheritance. Learn from the past. Inherit wisdom for the future. Learning from the past and inheriting wisdom for the future. So Spirit saying that little girl's supposed to remember that without being able to explain it to her auntie who's saying, what do you know about love? You know, and maybe even making her feel guilty or ashamed that she knows about love at that early age. She's supposed to resonate. It's supposed to stay with her, because if it stays with her at age 6, it stays with that feeling that other parts of it that aren't as strong as that may also be there. You know what I mean? It may be other subconscious parts attached that will be kind of like a kite with strings. This part of the kite you remember, the strings you don't, but it's still carried with the kite. And then later on, let's say at 26, she needs those strings more than the kite, but it's still in her subconscious, so that, I don't know, for some reason, it's for the future, for wisdom for the future. You are, that's why we're made that way. That's why we carry that resonance. All right, Spirit, let's give. One more from this deck, and then I'll move on. If you still choose, thank you. You gotta be kidding me. Memory comes out, and it's of like a marriage or a couple. Treasure every shared memory, shining like jewels. So you could be remembering someone that you were a lifetime ago or lifetimes ago that you had a very strong union with. It could be somebody that comes back into your life again. Or it could just be a love like that that guides you to know that this is what the kind of love you deserve again in this lifetime. Or that you get it, you just don't deserve less than this in this lifetime. Something about it gives you wisdom. This memory, you'll treasure love more when you remember that you had that kind of love before, and that that's the only kind of love you deserve. That's what's coming to me. Okay, Spirit, I did say just this one. Now, Spirit, where else do we go? I have no idea. Okay. All right, the Panther Oracle I'm looking at, of all things. Anything else about this, I'll pick up on it, Spirit. It could be taking me in a whole nother direction. I feel like it is, and I'll pick up on it. But please, what else? Because this is interesting. I said it was going to be short because I had other things. Whoa. I thought it would go in a different direction. Disturbance. Obscure. Irritation. Supernatural. Okay. At the bottom, I see blessing. What's hidden is a blessing. And this obscure, supernatural, let's just say there's energies that don't want divine unions together. Let's just say that that's the last thing they want is you to remember what love is and to carry forth or even find the love of your life, a soul that is out there for you, that's intended to stay with you in this lifetime. There's a disturbance of something that's a blessing for you, is what I'm getting with this. Wow. I thought it would go in a different direction as the storm approaches. It's so beautiful before a storm. I love the energy, especially near a full moon. This is like magic. Look at those clouds roll by. Sorry. Okay. Oh. Spirit says, okay, and schedule coming out. This lets me know everything's going according to plan. And everything's going to work out. It's going to be okay. No matter what disturbance tries to come in the way, blessings can't be blocked for your love, your union. Wow, this did take a turn. But you are to treasure anyone that comes in your life that feels like a good love for you, feels like a gift from God. Like sometimes you do end up with someone that feels like an angel in your life, and you are to cherish it and know this could be somebody that was in your life previously, in a past life. All right, Spirit, do I dare go for anything? Okay, one angel message, and then we'll end this and I'll come back and do another reading. At the split, I see negativity and miracles. That's kind of like the disturbance and the blessing card. For me, those were opposites. And the blessing is trumping the disturbance. And with this, it seems like the same thing. Miracles trumping any negativity. Yeah, it's like the Set and Osiris situation. I have action. The universe is ready to support you, but it requires your commitment. Now is the time to take decisive action and guide events in your favor. Again, seizing, recognizing this gift, this blessing, this love in your life, and committing. It requires your commitment. So committing to it, and the universe supports you fully. It says the universe is ready to support you. That's what I get from this. And I'm loving it. So I'll see you in the next reading.